Right, here's some hi-capa mags. These are all leaking. I believe they haven't been used for ages, so they just need a little bit of TLC and stop them from leaking out gas. For example, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on the camera. Probably can't hear that. But anyway, don't worry about that. Don't know if you can't hear it, because that's not how we're going to test it. We're going to test it like this. Now this is water. This is quite readily available, so if you're lucky enough to have a tap in your house, you should have access to this quite simply. And then just throw the mag in. There you are. Quite an obvious problem on that one. So at least now we know which end we need to fix, but I will put some extra lubricant on the top just whilst we've got the mag open and freshen it up. So yeah, I'll show you what I do on these. Right, so we now know where our mag's leaking. Obviously it's on the bottom of this one, so let's take the mag apart, get to the O-ring. Right, that is the one that's either going to need, hopefully, just re-silicone and re-greasing up for it to continue working, or we'll replace it if needs be. Okay, so that O-ring is as dry as anything. There is no oil, no lubricant or anything on that, and that will cause the O-rings to shrink ever so slightly, which is where the leaks come in. So I'm half hoping if we just put the correct grease back on this, that'll put a new lease of life in that, and we don't need to replace it, and that way we can keep the correct O-ring in there, and the mag will seal properly again. Let's try it. Okay, first of all I'm just going to put some silicone grease on here, in the groove that the O-ring sits on. And the O-ring itself and I will put some of this in around the edge within here as well. Only a little bit, don't need to go mad. There we are. Now the fun bit is going to be getting this screw lined up with the thread in there. It's always a good thing. Also, whilst we're here, we're preparing this mag, even though this bit wasn't leaking, I'm still going to undo it, and I'm going to put a bit more silicone on it just because that's going to keep it nice. You might decide that if it's your mag, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you fix the one bit that was leaking, you might just leave it there. But because I want to do this thoroughly, I'm just going to put not too tight that you squash the O-ring to death, that ruins it. That's that. And I am going to take this out here and just do those whilst we're at it. Now I made myself my own tool to undo that, so I just took a pin of a set of pliers with the round pincers, and I flattened them off so that they go in there perfectly. This is good for two reasons. One, it unscrews the thing, and two, when you want to lift it out, you just squeeze the pliers ever so slightly and lift the valve out. Quite good. Now there are multiple O-rings on this. You've got one on here, that's the bit that actually seals the mag from each shot. Then you've got the next one along, which is just sealing kind of the main chamber with this, and then this one just seals the kind of valve outlet with the outside weld out here. And because this wasn't leaking, quite simply, all I'm going to do is add more silicone. Silicone is your friend when you're fixing these. I'm mad of it, just a tiny bit on each bit. Just keeps them nice. There we go, and I think I will also give that a little wipe out in there.
Get down to the baseline.
The game with this, you don't want to go excessively tight because again it's just going to squash that O-ring and damage it, so that should be plenty. Yeah, now let's fill it up. And that is now no longer leaking. Now I wouldn't normally, but just for the purposes of this video I will pop it back in the water just so we can see that it's not leaking. There you go, so that's in there, so we've got no air bubbles coming from that. That's absolutely fine. Now that's ready to go. Now we haven't replaced anything, all we've done is re-silicone it, bit of grease in there, put it all back together as it should be, so that is now ready to go. And just to show you I'm not cheating, there is gas in it ready. Whoa, look at that. So yeah, there's gas in it. Now I wouldn't normally push that button just for the sake of the video, that's fine, but the biggest killer of the O-rings in my opinion on the top here is when people vent all their gas at the end of the game day, because all you do is you freeze everything up the top here and it damages it. So I would always leave gas in that forever, really. Keeps it nice because there's silicone within the gas content. So yeah, hopefully you find that useful and that helps you out, perhaps fix any mags you guys might have. Give the channel a like, drop a comment, subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.